Good?
Yep.
Alright guys, so we got the engine out of the car and on the stand, and we've got it stripped down a good part of the ways. The only thing we've seen that was a little suspect so far is I think my tensioner over here might have been a little tight because there's a little bit of aluminum sitting down here, and there was a little bit of aluminum that was off of that billet tensioner that was in there. So I think maybe the chain was a little too tight on this side. That's something I can fix easily though. Everything's spinning freely so far, so that's a good sign. The cams are actually spinning freer than they were before because I'm sure they broke into the head and everything. So everything is undone on this passenger side head, and we're about to pull it off and see what the head gasket looks like. My gut instinct tells me that the head gasket's gonna look fine, but I'm kind of hoping we're gonna find something. So I'm gonna try and wrestle this thing off here and see what it looks like. So. So the cylinder head looks fine. Not really seeing anything out of the ordinary on the cylinder head right here. See anything on this head gasket?
Nope.
Not really seeing a whole lot on the head gasket right now. Pistons look good, cylinder bores look good. There's a little bit of rust in here from the water sitting on everything. So we're gonna kind of inspect this a little bit and get this head gasket up off here and see what it looks like. See if there's any obvious signs of anything, any kind of leakage going on. So you can see right here, you can see the marks where the head gasket's sealing up to the surface. And I'm not really seeing anything on this gasket that shows that it was pushing anything, really. It's a little milky right here, so this is the only place that oil comes through the block to the head. One on this side and one on the opposite end on the other side. It's not good, folks. It's not good. Maybe there's something on the other side.
Roof material.
Yeah. Here, you bring the camera right here. So me and my friend are over here talking about the surface finish on this deck surface of this block. I don't know if the video does it justice,
showing
but
the lines and everything.
like, look how bad that is. You know, I got in a hurry when I was putting this thing together and didn't even focus on that. And it's definitely something I missed.
If you give it a second, you can hear my fingernail catch this. Same down here. All the way to the liner.
It is. It down there looks like a crack when you get to looking at it when it goes to the liner. I don't think it is, but when you get to the liner right there, it looks rough.
But that's pretty bad when you can hear.
Yeah.
Look at the lines. You can see the lines real good in the video.
I could just hear the excuse now. We didn't know what head gasket you were gonna run.
Doesn't matter. That's just
No,
crappy.
it's a modern engine. It runs an MLS head gasket. Any machine shop worth of crap would know the roughness.
The surface of your original block was fine.
Oh, there's a stock block. That's the block that I keep showing everyone over here. Come look at this. Look how smooth this is.
Not focusing.
No, bro, come down here close to it. This thing's been sitting in the freaking elements forever. It's smooth. That has a good RA on it for sealing a multi-layer steel head gasket. And it's not even cleaned up. You know, it probably looks even better when you clean it up.
Oh yeah.
And it looks that right there probably still better than this would. That's got to be where it's coming from. It's got to be.
Yeah, almost guaranteed.
We're about to pull this other head off and see what it looks like. I just don't get it. You have a place that claims to be a good machine shop and they leave a surface like that, knowing this is a modern engine and it's going to run a multi-layer steel head gasket. That's a simple Google search. You can go on Google and type in surface finish for multi-layer steel head gasket, and like these Cometics, they want like a 50 RA roughly, and then they say like a factory gasket requires anywhere from like a 20 to a 30 RA, so it's even smoother than what these Cometics need. So, let's see what this one looks like.
Get my finger into that. It's funny, it looks okay over here, and then
Before you get over here.
see this over here.
Mm-hmm.
Feels alright. And once you work over there,
It gets rough again. Gasket looks okay. Yeah, the gasket. You can even see, Luke, where the gasket has like gotten the same texture
yeah,
as the block.
yeah. But that other one looks a lot worse. I bet you can follow those lines, you know, and see which ones were affected it, you know, the most.
Let's see. What?
You can see the lines in the gasket where it's like conformed to the that surface.
What's the head gasket for something? So.
It's hanging up right up there.
Oh. Hey.
Oh yeah. You can feel it.
And that's trying to find one that would be like right through.
Yeah, this
Where
would
you
be
can
where you
see
would
the-
get your water leak at.
Right.
These are the old drain back holes.
You can see this is an area here that was exposed. So if you find some lines that go directly to that, you know, and follow it to the cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be on this one over here. On this side, that would be the worst. This guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one that was over here that I was really catching on, I think.
We're on the other
On the
side.
other side over there.
Right. Just like, yo, correct?
Well, that gasket's for the other side. This is
Oh,
for this
yeah.
side. Yeah.
But this is the cylinder over here that was real crappy.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's really bad. I just don't think they sealed up at all, to be honest with you. Alright guys, so I got more bad news on top of what was already bad news. Got some really bad scuffing on the cylinder walls. See it back there?
Mm-hmm.
All back here. Some scuffing. I think that's it for those cylinders. And then we got some really bad scuffing. That's no good. It's not good at all, actually. So, what do you guys think causes that? You think it could be the water they got in the oil? I'm not sure. There's a lot of funny stuff going on with this thing. Come up. That's where we're at, guys. I'm kind of fed up with this thing today, so we're gonna just leave the rest of it for another day to pull out. But that's where we're at right now, so we'll pick up whenever we find out more. Alright guys, so I hope you're ready to see some carnage because I have a whole lot of carnage sitting here in front of me. It's not good. For some of you that follow my Facebook, you've already seen some of these pictures, but we'll go ahead and get some video of basically everything that's destroyed in this engine. So, starting off with the pistons over here, got a whole bunch of wear on the skirts. This is number 4. This isn't even one of the worst ones, but I mean, these things are pretty much toast, and the cylinder walls look just as bad. I'll show this to you here in a second. Where's number 6 at?
Over on the side, second from the top.
Number 6 up here. Number 6 was the worst one. It actually scarred the cylinder up really bad. As you can see this, all this damage down here, and I'm thinking that has to do with the water being in the oil. Bearings are toast. They were about 2 seconds from spinning. But this isn't even one of the worst ones. But basically, all the bearings look like this. They took a big brunt of the damage because they're softer than the crank. But unfortunately, right here on the crank, got some pretty bad scarring up here. We got some scarring on the main journals. This is actually nice back here. This thrust face is nice. The thrust actually look perfect in this thing. Some scarring right here on this journal. So that's probably the worst of the scarring. A lot of that is bearing material. So it may clean up. I'm just not sure yet. I'd have to take it to a machinist and have them look at it. Right here on this side, there's some more scarring. Some scarring and some bearing material on this main journal. And then the number 1 main looks perfect. And so does the number 1, the front rod bearing journal looks good up here. So I'm thinking that a lot of the trash and the bearings started to eat themselves in the middle of the crank first. And I shut it off before oil pressure was able to push the trash up here to the front side of the engine and as well to the back side. So it didn't make it to these. So it's right here in the middle. These 2 journals for the main and the rod journals took the brunt of the damage. And then over here you can see the main bearings are junk. Like the number 1 looks fine, but then number 2, number 3, number 4 are junk, and then number 5 looks pretty good. There was a little wear on this thrust, but nothing I'm too worried about. It could have even been water that caused the little bit of wear on that thrust, but it wasn't bad. The big thrust bearing right here looks perfect. So you can see just a little bit of wear in there, but not too bad. And then moving on over here to the block, we have some things that we were thinking might be a little suspect on this block. And I don't know jack about sleeving a block. I send this thing out to have it sleeved by professionals or so-called professionals. And but I'm down here looking at some stuff. And one thing that kind of concerns me a little bit is, I didn't notice this before with this sleeve. There's definitely some leakage down here, and I think this was like some oil that they may have used to install it. But I'm not seeing this anywhere else on any of the other sleeves. So I'm almost wondering if this sleeve was leaking, if this stuff that was used to install this sleeve in the block could have been, you know, between this sleeve and the block, you know, somewhere up here. And if it started to leak, that coolant could have pressed and pushed this stuff out. And that's why you're seeing, as a matter of fact, you can see where it ran all the way down right here. So that absolutely could be a leak from the sleeve. Now, I don't know if it is, but I think that's a telltale sign of something leaking. And that may have been there before, I don't know. That may have already been there. It's just hard to say. I really don't know. But another thing we noticed over here is, and I just noticed this when we pulled it apart, is there, can you actually see it? Well, right here, I'm gonna cut myself. So where my finger is right here, where they were cutting this sleeve, this aluminum is extremely thin, and it's so thin that you can break it away. Like I'm breaking it away with my finger right there. And I did not notice that beforehand. I feel like that's something that should have been cleaned up. I mean, that's trash that could have definitely got in and hurt a bearing.
Go back inside.
And it may have already happened in some of these other spots. It's hard to say. I don't think it has, but like I said, the aluminum got extremely thin right there. You can see this one right here. See how, I bet I can break that with my finger almost. It's extremely, extremely thin. like I'm bending it. You see that? I just bent it right there. And then Sarah got to looking back here at these sleeves, and she could stick her fingernail between the sleeve and the side of the block. So I've got some filler gauges, and she's gonna take over duty on the phone. I've got some filler gauges right here, and like I said, guys, you can point this at me. Like I said, guys, I'm no expert. This may be normal. I don't know. You guys tell me, for some of you smart guys out there that are smarter than I am, or have more experience in this. But let's see. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get these filler gauges down in here, but you figure the thickness of a fingernail is what? We'll try 15 thousandths. Yeah, we'll go a little smaller. We'll try 6 thousandths and see if we can spit this 6 thousandths. This 6 thousandths down in here. Oh yeah. We're easily getting this 6. Can you get that on video? We're easily getting that 6 thousandths down in between the block and the sleeve.
Thank you. Right up here at the top of the cylinder there.
Right here?
No, back some.
I'm getting it right there too, a little bit. I am absolutely getting it in there. Now guys, I don't know if this is normal or not. I don't think it would be normal. You would think, I thought that these sleeves were such a tight fit that you couldn't even get a thousandths in between them. Look at that. Hell, let's go a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can get something a little bit bigger in there. Let's try. I know for a fact I'm getting a 6 thousandths.
Try this one right here.
Yeah, we'll just stick with the 6 thousandths for now.
Look on the.
Right here?
Yeah.
I can't tell if it's going in there or not.
I'm talking about more on the, yeah, right there.
Is it going down in there?
I can't tell.
Yeah.
I can't see that but in your hand.
I feel some resistance when I'm pulling it back out. So I think it may be getting in there a little bit. Look at this. Like, guys, if you can see a gap with your eye, that's a pretty big gap when you're talking tight measurements. Oh, look at that. You can see it going now. Just a little bit in there. And the thing is this filler gauge is really wide. So I may just be crazy, y'all. I don't know. Look at that. Y'all see that? Hold on. Watch this. Watch that filler gauge go down in there. See that? That's 6 thousandths right there. So I don't know if that's normal or not. I mean, I'm just kind of grasping at straws right here. Look at that. On every one of these, like I said. I'm running this around the sleeve. Look at that. All the way around the sleeve. 6 thousandths. That is great. Look at that.
Yeah, it's in there.
Let me see, Mommy.
Now aluminum does grow, so that means the clearance is going to get even wider. Now I don't know if that's an issue or not, guys, because I don't know if the water ports, the water jackets are like open. I think there's a little bit of aluminum between the sleeve and the water jacket, so I don't know if that's a huge deal or not. I'm gonna have to talk to someone smarter than me and ask them, but. That's where we're at right now, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. Stay tuned for another video because I got a lot of stuff to update you guys on, and I got some. I got to have a little heart-to-heart with you guys about some things, and we'll move on from there. So that'll be in the next video. So thank you guys for watching. We're going to get some things figured out with this block and the engine build, and I'll see you guys in the next one.